Assalamu alaikum viewers. Today I am outside Buckingham Palace. Standing in the center of the city of Westminster, Buckingham Palace serves as the official residence and administrative headquarters for the monarch of the United Kingdom. The monarchy uses the palace as a place for royal hospitality and important state occasions. Uh, from news broadcast to blockbuster films, and everything in between, no London building is more iconic than Buckingham Palace. The fascinating building has survived everything from World War II bomb, IRA bombs, strikes, to a crafty undergarment thief. Today, the palace has 775 rooms in total, including 19 state rooms, 52 royal and guest bedrooms, 188 staff bedrooms, 92 offices, and the 78 ballrooms. It is a focal point for significant national celebrations and commemorations with more than 50,000 visitors each year. If the Queen's Royal Standard flag blows high above the palace, then the Queen is currently in the residence. When the Union Jack is flown instead of a Royal Standard flag, the Queen is elsewhere. Edward VII is the only monarch to have both been born and died at Buckingham Palace. William IV was also born here, and our current Queen Elizabeth II gave birth to Prince of Wales and Prince Andrew at the palace. In front of Buckingham Palace, at the end of the mall, standing the monument of Victoria Memorial, which was built in the honor of Queen Victoria. Queen Victoria ruled the UK for about 64 years, and this memorial was designed right after her death in 1901. It was divulged a decade after in 1911. It was the artistic scheme of Aston Webb, whereas the statues were entirely the work of sculptor named Thomas Brock. Victoria Memorial comprises of the Dominion gates, that includes Canadian Gate, Australia Gate, South and the West Africa gates. These gates were presented by respective countries to the UK as a tribute to Queen Victoria. And just to add some more beauty to the priceless monument, there are a number of sea animals depicted on the base. This empire includes mermen, mermaids, and other sea creatures. The monument is 25 meters in height, which is one of the tallest ones. It is made up of white Carrara marble. It comprises 2,300 tons of this marble. This is the military band going inside the Buckingham Palace for the ceremony of changing guards or the mounting guards. I will show you the full ceremony of changing guard at the end of the video. Let's go back to Monument of Victoria Memorial. The official unveiling of this memorial was done by King George V in 1911. The ceremony took place on 16 May, and his first cousin, Wilhelm II of Germany, was also present. As Wilhelm II, Germany, and the King George V were the two grandsons of Victoria, there was also a large number of members of parliament and various armed forces in attendance. Where there are statues that surrounds the enclosing walls, just below that we can find two sets of wonderfully made lion sculptures. One of them is a gift from New Zealand for Queen's honor. Coming down from Gilt Victory, we can see the figures made up of Carrara white marble, which has statue of Queen Victoria with 18 feet in height, which is facing away from Buckingham Palace. To her left, there is an angel of justice, an angel of truth on her right. Truth is having a mirror and a snake under the foot. However, justice is wearing a helmet and carrying a sword too. And then, just in front of the palace, there is a figure of motherhood with three infants, which is sometimes also called a charity. The main monument comprises different statues which are having their own significance, but this winged victory in lustrous shine draws everyone's attention, even though it was built as a tribute to Queen Victoria. But there is much more to see. At the top, there is winged victory, which is very beautiful, and at her feet, there are courage and constancy, which are all painted gold. Both the angels are well represented by the victory at the top. The memorial is described, it was devoted to the qualities which made our Queen so great and so much beloved. The statue of the Queen was placed to face towards the city, while flanked by truth and justice, as he felt that she was just and she sought the truth always and in circumstances, while the motherhood was to represent her great love for the people. Changing the guard, also known as guard mounting, is the iconic ceremony which is seen by millions of people each year at Buckingham Palace and Windsor Castle. Carried out by soldiers on active duty from the foot guards who have guarded the sovereign and the royal palaces since 1660. The sight of their famous bearskin hats and red tunics is indelibly linked with Buckingham Palace and British monarchy. Accompanied by a full military band playing a selection of music ranging from traditional marches to songs from musical and familiar pop songs, the ceremony is both colorful military tradition and an important reminder of close relationship between the armed forces and their head, the Queen. Household trips have guarded the sovereign and the royal palaces since 1660. When Queen Victoria moved into Buckingham Palace in 1837, the Queen's Guard remained at St. James Palace with a detachment guarding Buckingham Palace as it still does today. The changing of guard ceremony marks the moment when soldiers currently on duty, the old guard, exchange places with the new guard. The guard duties are normally provided by a battalion of household division, but also sometimes by other infantry battalions or units. For example, around the time of Queen's coronation in 1953, the soldiers from Canada, Australia, South Africa, New Zealand, Ceylon, and Pakistan also participated in changing the guard. And today we regularly see regiments from across the Commonwealth as well as from the Royal Air Force and Royal Navy performing changing the guard. Guards now are called the Queen's Guard because Queen is enthroned. Otherwise, it's called King's Guards. This takes place on forecourt of Buckingham Palace on certain days from 10:45 a.m. and lasts around 45 minutes, with the actual handover taking place at 11 a.m. In summer, it's every day, and winter is every other day. This ceremony was put on hold in March 2020 owing to the COVID-19 pandemic, which started here after 18 months. Most people head for Buckingham Palace to see changing the guard, but the ceremony actually takes place between three locations: Buckingham Palace, St. James Palace, and the Wellington Barracks, Let's go through what happened at Buckingham Palace. At 11 a.m., the new guards enters the forecourt via north gate of Buckingham Palace. They march in front of the band and halt facing the old guard. The band then performed the new guard's regimental slow march as it advances towards the old guard. The old and new guards present arms before the captain of the guard ceremoniously hand over the palace's keys. The symbolic gesture represents the transfer of responsibility for the security of the palace from the old to the new guard, who, until relieved, will be the Queen's guard. When the Queen is in residence, the foot guards on the forecourt of the palace will await the Queen's lifeguard and present arms as the cavalry passes between the Queen's Victoria Memorial and Buckingham Palace. After this, salute the officers of both the old and the new Buckingham Palace detachments. Salute the senior captain on parade with their swords. Retiring to the guard room, they will report to the senior captain after completing handover procedures with their senior non-commissioned officers. During this period, the ensigns carrying their respective colors patrols the area before the palace from left to right. Officers not directly involved in ceremony march in step along the west side of the guard. As each new sentry is posted, a corporal distributes any special orders previously collected from the palace by the captain of the guard. During these procedures, the regimental band, originally accompanying the new guard, moves to the center of the forecourt, form a semicircle, and perform a program of music. Pipers, who occasionally accompany the old guard on the march from St. James Palace, also provides music at this point in the ceremony. The original sentries having been replaced by sentries from the new guards, including those still on duty at St. James Palace, return to complete the old guard. The duty bugler informs the director of music that the handover is complete. The band then reformed in front of the center gate approximately 11:35. The guards also called to attention. The old guard advances to its regimental slow march towards the new guard. Wheeling right, the color of old and the new guard exchange compliments as the old guard exits through the center gate, preceded by the band. Having left the palace, the old guard breaks into quick time and continues its march back to Wellington Barracks. The new guard remaining in the palace is given the order to slope arms and is referred to from this point the Queen's Guard. The Queen's Guard then divide into two. Those responsible for guarding St. James Palace, usually led by the regimental bands and the corps of drums, march off down the mall to place their regimental colors in guard room located in Fairy Court at St. James Palace. Buckingham Palace detachment of the Queen's Guard then retires to the palace guard room to assume their duties. Sentries are not permitted to stand easy vice at their post. Indeed, it is in the orders for the sentry that are read out to them at the beginning of their tour of duty. You may not eat, sleep, smoke, stand easy, sit or lie down during your tour of duty. These guards are well trained on how to deal with threats or nuisance from the public. The first way they do this is by coming to attention as the crash of the studded ammo boot striking concrete is a good way to grab attention, and this is usually accompanied by a shout of "stand back" from the guard or something similar. Should the nuisance persist, the sentry repeats the above and moves his weapons to the slope with a similar shout. The final warning is to issue an official challenge to the person. The sentry will slope arm and then move the weapon into the position called port arms, where the weapon points at the person. And this is considered the final warning. And the next step would be for the sentry to either detain the person or seek assistance. If there is a threat from the arms or other weapon, the sentry can seek, or in some cases already have permission to discharge their weapon to stop the assailant. Please do not stand in the way of the guards, as they will not stop or march around people who are impeding their progress. The usual warning they shout out if someone is in the way is "make way for the Queen's Guard." If you're coming to watch the ceremony, please do care of your personal safety. When the ceremony is complete, the Queen's officials leave the Buckingham Palace to mark the completion of the guard mounting or the guard changing. Thanks for watching, and do subscribe my channel for my new videos. Thank you.